Welcome back to the channel where we spotlight Black excellence in film and TV so you don't have to miss some great Black-led roles. Let's get into it.
Industry news and upcoming trailers centered around Black filmmakers. So the first story is about disgraced actor Jonathan Majors. Who else? Continuing a career comeback. So we already know he's coming out with Merciless. That's an independent revenge thriller directed by Martin Villeneuve, the younger brother of Dune filmmaker Denis Villeneuve. So Briarcliff Entertainment is picking up his shelved psychological sports drama. Interesting, called Magazine Dream. Now, I've never seen this movie, but this movie follows Majors as an intensely troubled, aspiring bodybuilder. Now, the reason I said I haven't seen it because it had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival back in 2023. The movie was met with pretty positive reviews. People seemed to really like it. They were even talking about him with confidence, saying that Majors would find himself in the Oscar conversations. I'm like, hold up a little bit. Side note, I think that's a bit too far. I mean, I want to see Majors do well, but he's still got a long way to go before he's up there on the skill level of someone like Denzel Washington. So the plan is to release this in the first quarter of 2025. I still think the way Majors handled the whole situation he went through was pretty stupid. The interviews he did, also stupid. But I never thought for one second that Hollywood was done with him. As I read through this article, it talks about, like, this could be the start of him coming back and whatnot. I think he just needed to lay low. This was gonna always really be just a blip in an otherwise illustrious career. And again, we already know he was coming out with Merciless to look forward to, and now we have the latest resurgence of this very popular, critically acclaimed sports drama movie. So I'm sure we'll see him getting regular gigs. More and more things will just start to pick up for him, especially, and he should do his utmost to do really well in the upcoming Merciless. And if this previous film has already done its job of wowing people, there's really nothing to even worry about that. So you'll have two new pieces essentially to the world coming out that will show him in all his glory, for lack of a better word. All right, moving on, Gladiator 2 issues. All right, so here's the deal with Gladiator 2. There is some drama around it if you don't already know. And the big thing people are talking about are the music and Denzel Washington's accents. So the trailer used No Church in the Wild by Jay-Z and Kanye, which some people thought was out of place for an ancient Rome movie, and I kind of agree with that. I think they could have easily found something more Rome, more ancient feeling to it. I mean, it's not that hard, right? Then there's the fact that Denzel isn't putting on a historical accent, so that's like the next major one. But nobody really knows what that means, since this character is based on an actual real life figure who is from North Africa. So it's kind of like the question of what would that sound like. But here's the thing. Ridley Scott, the director, doesn't usually force his actors to do accents to begin with. As long as they're comfortable with it, then go ahead. But otherwise, he's not going to make them do it. And Denzel even has an even better point about this. In an interview, he basically said, whose accent would I be doing? There's no way to know how these people sounded back then. So why fake it and risk doing a bad accent? Which I agree with. Denzel Washington isn't just some random new actor. He's been in the game for a hot minute. He knows how to get the best out of his own performance, I'm sure. And putting on a fake accent is probably not going to help him. And I think Ridley also would agree with that. So people are getting caught up in these details, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Denzel's character is an arms dealer who's helping out Lucius, the son of Maximus from the first movie. So the story itself, it does look pretty epic. I will say a third issue that I was seeing was a little bit of the special effects, the CGI, not, coming off a little too CGI, I suppose. But we'll have to see. I mean, all this stuff is really nitpicking small things. The movie's got a lot bigger stuff going on. And again, it's helmed by Ridley Scott. He crushed it in the first one. I imagine he's going to crush it in the second one. And Denzel Washington is right there with him. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it anyways. Let me know what you guys think. All right, next story is pretty interesting. So the trailer you're seeing right now is called Sing. Sing, and has an interesting inspiration centered around the wrongly accused inmates and the arts program that's part of that, and what it means to live in a sort of a corrupt system. So Sing Sing stars John Adrian Velasquez, also known as JJ, whose story is pretty wild. He spent over 20 years in prison for a murder he already said he didn't commit, but it wasn't just his word to go off of. He was eventually proven right nearly 24 years later after being behind bars. He was in the A24 movie, but long before that, he was locked up, and it wasn't until 2021 that they found new DNA evidence that cleared him. And just this past week, the whole case, I'm talking September 30th, came to an emotional end in the Manhattan court. Variety reported that September 30th, at age 48, JJ was officially exonerated. His mother, some of the cast from Sing Sing, the director, and even some A24 staff were there to support him. He said, "It's been a long time coming." Actually, side note, Martin Sheen actually started speaking about this back in 2011. So people have been, fighting for this for a very, very long time. Anyways, after walking out of court, JJ told the press something like, "It's so easy to put someone in prison on shaky evidence, but the truth was always there, trying to warn people. The problem is no one's listening. We shouldn't have a system where it's easy to lock up poor people than to free the innocent. It's been that way forever, but it doesn't have to stay that way. We deserve better." Two true words. So back in 1998, when JJ was 22, he was convicted of murdering a retired New York cop during a robbery at an alleged gambling spot in Harlem. But the thing is, he didn't match the description of the shooter, and his mom swore he was on the phone with her during the shooting. Even though there was no physical evidence against him, he was still sentenced to 25 years to life. Later, two witnesses backed off their statements, though one did eventually return to his original story. But still, in 2002, Dateline NBC started digging into it more and kept at it for about 10 years. They found new evidence, which aired in 2012, but the Manhattan DA still didn't overturn his conviction. Finally, in 2021, former Governor Andrew Cuomo gave JJ clemency, and after serving 23 years, he was released in 2022. Can you believe all that? So sorry for that long-winded. I wanted to give you a little bit of background just to see what this man had gone through, because after getting out, he actually played himself in the movie Sing Sing, which is based around a real program at the prison that helps inmates put on stage productions. So though the story isn't exactly a one-to-one, but it does give you a perspective on what it's like to live in these conditions as an innocent man told that you're guilty. Before his exoneration, JJ told Variety, "I've lost 24 years and nothing can give that back. Sure, there's some vindication, but there's a lot of other trauma the system just refuses to acknowledge." So, I want to check out Sing Sing. Also, there's a documentary coming out about this story called The Sing Sing Chronicles. I'm kind of actually looking forward more to that, as the movie does seem to deviate a little bit from what actually went down. But regardless, the documentary miniseries or docuseries is coming on MSNBC on November 23rd and 24th. Hopefully it gets into a deep dive into the case, into the justice system, and give you a look into Sing Sing. So should be pretty interesting. I'm going to try and check out both of them if I can. Crazy, crazy story. So finally, we got two big Marvel stars coming back together in Halle Berry and Chris Hemsworth. They're teaming up for a new crime thriller called Crime 101, and apparently it's going to have a similar vibe to that classic heist movie Heat from the 90s. Sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting to me, but we know that Halle Berry came out with Never Let Go very recently, and I was really looking forward to that. It did look intense. It did look very interesting. I haven't actually seen it yet, but the reviews on it do not look promising, so I'm probably going to push that onto the back burner, and I'll get to it when I'm bored one day, I guess. But this latest announcement is hopefully a lot more promising. Halle Berry is in talks to join the cast while Hemsworth is already locked in. The movie is based on a short story. They're keeping the whole plot details under wraps at the moment, but if it follows the original story, it's about a series of jewelry thieves along the Pacific coast. Most of the cops think it's the work of some Colombian cartel, but one detective thinks it's actually a thief trying to pull off one last big job. Filming is supposed to start this month, and it'll hit theaters next year. So Halle Berry's been doing pretty solid stuff right now. She came out with the Netflix movie The Union, I think with Mark Wahlberg, and we got the whole horror one that I have yet to see, but isn't really well received. So hopefully now with Crime 101, this goes well, and we'll probably be seeing more Halle Berry as things go on. Anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe, and share this out. Let people know what's going on in the movie industry or world. Comment down below, and until next time.